Hey, Brian from Garage Mahal, and I just got this car lift. And as if you can tell from the red and yellow beams, I already have a car lift that lifts my vehicles, my pickup trucks, my SUVs and stuff way up in the air so I can comfortably work underneath them. But a lot of times when I have them up in the air, I notice that I need a part or something, and the part may be a day or two away, and then I have one of my vehicles stuck on my lift. So I needed a secondary lift, just kind of like to make oil changes and stuff easier if I got a vehicle stuck on a lift, or if I just need to do like a basic brake job where I can easily do it in like kind of like a seated or a kneeled position, raise the vehicle up enough that I can actually rotate the tires. Because if you have jack stands and a regular jack and stuff like that, rotating tires can be a little tricky. You end up having to jack the vehicle up on its side to go from front to back, which is typically how I rotate. I typically don't crisscross, but in a situation where I want to be able to get quick and easy access to all around my vehicle, all four corners, this is going to be a great alternative for me and or for you. This is a great way to make almost like a portable lift per se. Each box is a little on the heavier side, so definitely it may be a two-person job, or if you're like me, you can do it as a one-person job, but each box is a little on the heavier side. Once I get this opened up and take a better look at it, we'll be able to see exactly what comes with it, how you'll be able to transport it. I'll demonstrate that, as well as I am not going to lift in my garage. I'm actually going to lift out in my driveway. So that is going to be probably, something better relatable to, most people don't have a garage, may not have concrete poured in a garage. They may not have a paved driveway. In my case, I have a rock driveway. So I'm basically going to show how you can use this in, all types of different scenarios. One thing I do know for sure is that it says it's a 8,000 pound capacity. So I have a couple pickup trucks that we can definitely use to test this out and to see how it lifts that and how sturdy that actually is. And again, it comes in three different segments. So you have your left rail, your right rail, and then you have your motor that basically drives the hydraulics in this system. So again, since it comes in three boxes, it looks like it's gonna be pretty portable, but again, we'll definitely check that all out. Anyway, let's open this up, see everything that we get inside, and then we will bring it outside, set it up, and put one of my pickup trucks on it and see how it does. But again, it's going to be basically super versatile for me. Now, basically, I'll have two lifts. For you, this may be, a lift just enough for you to be able to do some work on. Okay, so let's go. Okay, so unboxing was pretty easy. These are heavy. I didn't realize how heavy they are, but as you can tell, there is wheels and a handle on each side that does make these easy to maneuver. So let's open up the motor box, and I'm going to reposition the camera for that. Okay, let's take the cover off this. And again, these set of directions were basically just how to stack them during transportation. So in the box, you're going to get two hydraulic lines. quick connects, your instruction manual, and then some other gadgets and gizmos, connectors, figure out how that goes. Then it looks like other extension pieces. Then these are going to be all your jack points. Different frame supports. More hydraulic attachments. Box of connectors. And then the motor. So very cool. So this is your pump controller, your hydraulic controller. Looks like that is in there pretty good. So pretty decent cord. So that's basically your up and your down button, and then these are your hydraulic connections here. So pretty. And then here's your instruction manual. Okay, so that is your instruction manual. So give you an idea. We go page by page. So safety instructions. Customer service guide, helpful hints. Then kind of gives you quick how to operating precautions. Obviously, you want to read through this because there is a lot to this. How to set up the pump, how to set up the hydraulics. So obviously you don't drive the vehicle over these, you position them underneath. So those are your connection points, hooking everything up to the pump. And then basically how that will lift. So there you go. So let's start hooking the hydraulics up. So I put the car lift on my lift table so we can get some better views of this, and hopefully I won't jockey the camera too much by bumping into it, but we shall see. So you have this hydraulic line. So this will attach to your piston end over here. So hopefully you can kind of see that clearly enough. So what we are doing is we are going to be disconnecting this line and then this line protector on this side. So we're basically going to have that ready to go. And then you're going to need this little pass-through gizmo. So I put this little washer on. It seems like it comes with 4 washers. So you're going to be looking for all 4 of them. This will only take 2. So basically, oh, and on this end, this bolt is kind of like welded on or fitted on or whatever you want to call it. So basically we're going to take the one washer, put it on like that. Now you have a pass-through hole here. I'll show you at the end what it looks like, but just kind of give you an idea. And it's kind of tight here because you have this section of the lift in there, but you're going to slide on the other washer, which I'm doing my best to get in there with my fingers as it keeps slipping up my hand. Okay, so that goes in there. Now we're going to basically put this other bolt, or nut rather, onto this pass-through bolt. And again, they are pass-through bolts, so you don't want to torque them down too tight, but you want to make them snug. So I'm doing this by hand. And I'm going to get that pretty close in there. I think we're just about there. Okay, we're just... Okay, and this is a 19 millimeter. Okay, the inside is a 20 millimeter. I'm going to put my socket on there. Again, just get a little bit better grip on that. Make it snug so it's not going to come loose on you at any point. This hose. So again, we're going to put that fitting on this end. And then we'll get this fitting on here. Start by hand, so we're pretty good there. Okay, the 17 millimeter. That's going to be a little time consuming to get in there. So I wonder if I can put this up on its side yet. Let me just see here. Okay, so we can get a little bit better access down here. So we're going to keep this end as straight as we can, so when we're tightening this down, it'll make a good pressure fit. Okay, again, we're going to make it snug and check for leaks, but I think we'll be okay there. Okay, so that's nice and snug there. Let's get this a little bit shored up a little bit better in here. Okay, I think we're going to use that. And then just kind of get my socket there, my wrist holding that, so we got a nice good fit. Torqued it down pretty good. Okay, so that seems okay. Like I said, we'll test it for leaks once we hook everything up. Okay, so you get this pack with these quick connects in there, so basically just take them out, and then basically you are popping that piece off, and then this is going to be what screws down on top of here, so make sure you seat it properly. Then it is a 19, so once we have that threaded properly, let's just go ahead and get that set. And then spin off this plastic cap, and then your quick connect goes onto that. Once we find the threads, which way they're going. And there we go. Tighten this up. Okay. Test that out. That's good fitting. And then these are the protectors for everything. So just kind of like slide that up on there. And that'll help keep any fluid from leaking out. Then this side will connect to the motor. And then this cover goes on that to protect that. So you can put your little leash down here. And then there you go. Okay, something I missed initially, but this washer, you want to put it between that two pieces there. So kind of give you an idea where that goes. Okay, next we are going to connect the hydraulic line. So again, if you have everything correct, you should have that washer spacer there. That's all connected. And then basically you are just tightening this down. Okay, and again, make sure it's snug. So we're going to check for leaks. Once everything is all nice and hooked up, and then we get this top one in. Okay, that should be good. And there it says, please inject 4 liters of 46 grade anti-wear hydraulic oil. Okay, so we have some ISO 46 2 gallons premium anti-wear hydraulic fluid, which basically is required. So again, so you have a dipstick here on the end of this, so it kind of gives you an idea of how full you want to make that. So that looks like that's going to be the full mark right there. So let's start pouring, and I can kind of visually see in there how much we need to add. So we'll just keep pouring it slow, get a visual on that, and then we go from there. So okay, we're visibly close to the top. So again, we should be, I think, right about there. Okay, so we're right, again, hard to see. We are right at that notch. And we're visibly pretty close to the top. And as I put this down here, I can see I'm right where we should be. So now we can hook up the hydraulic lines to the lift, see how it works. I'm going to clean up some tools. I'll put them side by side here so we get some better camera angles on it, and then we can go from there. And then we can retest how much we have left to go in the hydraulic compartment after we fill up the pistons and the lines with the hydraulic fluid. Okay, so you get this extension piece, and it only goes on one side because that is where a screw hole is, and basically you're kind of slipping it into place like that, so you kind of in between that one pivot point and there. And so if you push down on this, this is going to basically grab onto this like a lever. So you put these bolts that come with it in place, and then you have a extension. So if you have a longer frame, like an 8-foot bed or something on your pickup truck, you can extend and get that up there. And like I said, it is very rigid. I'm not worried about that being an issue at all. However, I'd probably put this part onto like your bedside versus your engine side, just so it's a little bit lighter. But that's just me with a word of caution. Okay, so I have the motor sitting up here, and I'm going to use both hydraulic connections, one on one side, one on the other. So let me just get this one situated. So we're going to pull that protective cap off, pull that off, and then we're going to connect that, make sure you have a good connection there. And then I'm going to slide this hydraulic hose underneath to the other side so we can basically have a good symmetrical test, obviously. Okay, with the controller, I'm going to cautiously get that going, and you can hear it spinning up. So there you go. We're going to get them to full height so everything is filled up. And let me re-angle this camera so you can see the full height. Okay, so that is full height. So from a bottom to a flat surface, you're looking at 20 inches in full height just for this. And then when you have the lift pad, you get an overall height of basically is about 25.5 inches. So as I alluded to, kind of hard to get a good focus in there, but the hydraulic level did drop a little bit. So that was just basically kind of filling up the pistons and stuff. I'm going to give it one more go. I'm going to level off the hydraulic fluid in here. Raise it up one more time in the garage, and then put it back down just to kind of make sure I work all the bubbles out. And obviously you want to test the level when it is in the lowered position, and then we go from there. Okay, so in the instructions it says explicitly not to drive over these. In my case, because I do have enough clearance underneath to drive over them without any issues, that's what I'm going to do. Otherwise, you'd have to kind of go in from the side and slide them up underneath that. I'll give you kind of a general idea of what I mean, but make sure that you clear that connection so you're not running that over, because you'll permanently damage the unit, obviously. So again, just make sure that you're not driving over that. Definitely have a spotter to make this process a little bit easier. And again, otherwise you can go from the side and slide them up underneath into place underneath the body, and then I'll show you how to set up the connection points from there. Okay, so I'll get a different angle, but you can kind of see I got the pad situated towards the front, so the front one's going to absorb the weight of the front of the vehicle, and then we come down here, and then again that's the frame there. So we've aligned that stop all the way at the end of the lift there, so that is going to balance out the back part. And again, if you had the extensions too, you could go like an extra 6 inches or so, but since I have the less than 6 foot bed, I should be okay here. If you have an 8 foot bed, I'd probably add the extension part, which you'll mount on the front of that. So let me go set up the other side, hook the hydraulics up, and I'll show you how it works. Okay, hydraulic lines are hooked up, so we're going to start lifting it, and then we're going to make sure that we are nice and straight on the frame. Okay, as soon as you get a little bit of movement, stop, and then you are going to check to make sure that you are safe and stable on the frame. So we're going to check. That foot looks okay. That one is not connected yet, but it looks like it's going to sit okay. Let's check the other side. Okay, so this one, I'm just going to push that in a little bit so it's good. And then we look like we are good on that side. So let's raise it up some more. Okay, so you have these locking pins. And you want to put them through here. So if the hydraulics start to slip, you have a built-in safety. And then there's one on the other side. So let's go do that. Okay, so this is the other lock on that side. So now we're good. Now you want to make sure that you don't have any wobble or any where it's not laying flat on that plate. So you got to make sure that that foot is nice and stable on there. So we look good, frame looks good. So now we can get to work on doing an oil change, tire rotation, and everything else. So very cool, very stable, very nice. Okay, so our maintenance is complete in our vehicle. So we are going to go down and remove the locks. So that's on that side. And then we remove this lock. Okay, now that we're all done, make sure the hydraulic lines are cleared. They're not going to get crushed by any tires. And we basically hit the down button. And then it'll slowly work its way down. A little bit faster now since you got some weight on it. And we're almost done. And again, you can see the last bit down. And we're done. So now we can disconnect the hydraulics and pack everything away. But anyway, Brian from Garage Hall, thanks for watching and be safe out there.